guys, EJ here, back with another video. And yes, today it's going to be a top 10 list. My top 10 films of 1986. I haven't done finished my top 10 films of the 1980s. The last one I did obviously was my top 10 of 1985. And I think that was back in spring this year or early summer. It's been a long time. Sorry for that. Yeah, I definitely haven't done one of these since I moved to the new house that we have here. But yeah, I plan to knock the rest of these out before the end of the year. Finish my top 10 films of the 1980s to complete my top 10 film list of every year I was born. And I also need to do my top 10 films of last year, 2013. But I still haven't picked up something on Blu-ray yet. Which is finally out now, and I'm just waiting to get that as well, so I can bring you that list. So I got lots of top 10 list videos to come in the next month or so, plus some updates, DVD, Blu-ray updates, lots of cool stuff coming with all the sales, the Black Friday deals, and so on. So let's get started. My top 10 films of 1986, counting down as always. We start at number 10 with John Woo's A Better Tomorrow, starring Chow Yun-fat, Leslie Cheung, and T. Long. Great operatic action movie, one of John Woo's first films. Not his best, not my favorite John Woo film. Obviously I like movies like The Killer and Face Off, Hard Boiled a lot more than this movie, but still a good movie about two brothers. One's a cop, one's a gangster, and Chow Yun-fat plays the former partner of the cop in this film. Yeah, good movie. If you like John Woo, definitely one you want to pick up. A Better Tomorrow at number 10. Okay, number 9 we have classic film. I loved it growing up as a kid, and that is Big Trouble in Little China. Of course, directed by the great John Carpenter. Set in San Francisco's Chinatown. The awesome Kurt Russell is Jack Burton, a truck driver who gets mixed up in the mysterious realm of, what is the guy's name? Lo Pen. Yeah, Kim Cattrall is the girl in it. I loved this movie as a kid. It was so weird and wild. I always thought the three huge dudes with the straw hats who could like shoot lightning and stuff, those guys were really cool to me growing up as a kid, and those are the images that really stick out for me from this film. It's been a while since I've seen it, but Big Trouble in Little China, definitely a classic from the 80s. Absolutely loved it when I was growing up, and that's number 9. Okay, number 8, another classic from the 80s that I grew up watching a lot, and that is of course Top Gun, produced by Don Simpson and Jerry Bruckheimer. Directed by the late great Tony Scott. I watched this like 100 times back in the late 80s, early 90s when I was living in England. It was one of the movies I owned on VHS back then. For some reason I loved it. I had a huge crush on Kelly McGillis. That's number 1. Tom Cruise, of course, awesome as Maverick. Val Kilmer as Iceman. So many iconic moments and scenes, especially if you like volleyball. The music, the songs, the flying scenes were great. The whole F-14 thing was like a huge deal back then. It's a cool movie. I did a full review of this film for the Movie Reviewers 100. I believe for Tony Scott Week, Tony Scott Tribute Week. But I'll put a link to that video right down here somewhere and in the description. So if you want to see my review of this film, go check it out. But Top Gun, I still love it. It's a great movie. Anthony Edwards, Meg Ryan, great supporting cast. So many great actors, Tom Skerritt and so on. Yeah, Top Gun just definitely brings back memories, and I'm not ashamed to admit that I still love this movie. Okay, number 7 we have a great sports movie, and that is Hoosiers, the quintessential high school basketball film. I'm not a huge basketball fan. Certainly, I'm not a big NBA fan, and I'm definitely not a big college fan. So you can pretty much figure out where high school basketball ranks on my list. But great movie featuring Gene Hackman, Barbara Hershey, and Dennis Hopper about a small-time Indiana basketball team and their run to the state championship. Yeah, basketball is synonymous with Indiana, of course. French Lick, Indiana, the home of the Irish, and so on. Yeah, great movie, great sports movie. Not a huge basketball fan, but you can't go wrong with Hoosiers. Great film. Okay, number 6 is a Criterion, and it's Spy Number 20, one of the early ones, and that is Sid and Nancy. Great film directed by Alex Cox, of course, starring Gary Oldman and Chloe Webb as Sid Vicious, the bassist from the Sex Pistols, and Nancy Spungen, their sort of chaotic romance in the 70s and the whole punk scene. If you love Sex Pistols, Gary Oldman, a great actor, one of the best of his generation. Sid and Nancy, great film. Definitely worth checking out if you haven't seen it. And Criterion Collection always does it right. That is Sid and Nancy at number 6. Okay, up next, film my mom will be pleased to see on this list if she watches this video, and that is A Room with a View. Beautiful, sweeping, romantic period drama from the Merchant Ivory team. Of course, great cast: Maggie Smith, Denholm Elliott, Judi Dench, Helena Bonham Carter, Julian Sands, Daniel Day-Lewis. Yeah, great film about a woman coming of age and trying to get beyond the British upper class system. Yeah, beautiful cinematography, costumes, set design. Nominated for a bunch of awards in 1986. Room with the View. Probably not my favorite Merchant Ivory film. Howard's End and The Remains of the Day I probably like a little bit more than this movie, but great film nevertheless. Okay, number 4, appropriate for the video, and that is my Save Ferris t-shirt, and that is of course the teen comedy classic Ferris Bueller's Day Off, directed by the late great John Hughes. Matthew Broderick, the role that made him a star, absolutely awesome as Ferris in this film. The high school senior who takes the day off from school, hangs out with his girlfriend, played by the beautiful Mia Sara, and of course hangs out with his best friend, played by Alan Ruck. Jeffrey Jones, hilarious as the principal who's trying to catch him. Jennifer Grey, awesome as his sister. I love the scenes with her, especially the one in the police station where she meets up with Charlie Sheen. That's a great moment. All the stuff with the car, the red Ferrari. And speaking of that, instead of telling you about it, let me show it to you. There you go. The 250 California SWB. Absolutely beautiful car. Great moments with that piece in the film. Ferris Bueller, one of my favorite teen films of all time. Just a classic. Absolutely love it. Okay, up next, number 3. My favorite film from this director, and that is Blue Velvet, directed by David Lynch. I'm not a huge David Lynch fan, I never really have been, but there are a few films of his that stick out to me, ones that I really love, and along with Mulholland Drive and this one, I'd say those are my 2 favorite. Yeah, great film starring Kyle MacLachlan, the psychotic Dennis Hopper again. He appears twice on this list. Isabella Rossellini, Laura Dern. Yeah, Kyle MacLachlan's idyllic small town ideal gets sort of turned upside down when he finds that ear, human ear in the field, and he gets mixed up in the seductive murder mystery. Yeah, great film, Blue Velvet. One of the best thrillers, suspense thrillers of the 80s. And my favorite David Lynch film. Okay, number 2 might be number 1 on a lot of people's lists. I know it's number 1 for a certain person. It's her favorite film of all time, and that is Super Marcy. A little shout out to you. And that is Stand By Me. The quintessential coming of age film, I think, and movie that a lot of us growing up in the 80s absolutely adore and still do to this day. It's just a beautiful, really well made film, and not many films about kids of this age group, 12, 13-year-old, really compare. Directed, of course, by Rob Reiner and starring a brilliant young cast: Will Wheaton, River Phoenix, Corey Feldman, and Jerry O'Connell. Yeah, four friends who go out to find a body, based on the Stephen King short story or short novella, The Body. Beautiful film, great performances. Kiefer Sutherland as the leader of the gang. I really love the appearance by John Cusack as well as the older brother. Really touching moments, and the narration by Richard Dreyfuss really sort of sets this film off. Just a beautiful movie. Absolutely love it. Can watch it 100 times more. Stand By Me, one of the best films of the 80s. Great song by Benny King, of course. Yeah, absolutely love this film, and that's why it's number 2 on my list. So that leaves me with number 1, and my favorite film from this director, and the winner of the Best Picture Oscar that year, and that is Platoon, directed by Oliver Stone. Of course, based on his own personal experiences in Vietnam, about a young man played by Charlie Sheen, again appears on this list, who finds his first experience in Vietnam isn't what he thought it would be. Great performance by Sheen, and of course his 2 commanding officers, played by Tom Berenger and Willem Dafoe. Brilliant war scenes in this film. It's my favorite film about Vietnam, and my second favorite war film of all time. And like I said, it's my favorite Oliver Stone film. Absolutely love it. There's not a wrong note in this movie, in my opinion. Just a brilliant film. Great supporting cast as well. I think it was there's some young actors who appear in it as well. I think Larry Fishburne, or yeah, he was Lawrence Fishburne, and then, well, he's Lawrence Fishburne now, but I think he was Larry Fishburne at the time when he appeared in this. Yeah, just a brilliant film. Platoon, number 1 on my top 10 films of 1986. So let me know what you think of these films, and give me your list as well. Sorry for the big delay in these videos, but like I said, I'll be bringing you the rest of the my top 10s from the 80s in the next few weeks. And thank you for watching as always, and until next time, I'll see ya.
Bond. James Bond.